Hello, I'm Michael Glass from michaelglass.com, where we focus on making informed decisions about our financial future. Before we begin our video, you want to start off with our disclosures. Any symbols you see today should not be inferred as a trading recommendation. No matter what form of investing you choose, stock, forex, futures, options, they all have a level of risk associated with them. Any strategies we show today are for informational purposes only. Future results are not guaranteed. And finally, any investment decision you make is solely your own responsibility. Trade at your own risk. So this is our stock market technical analysis trading plan. In our video, we'll look at the past week's economic calendar and also look forward to next week. We'll see what happened as far as the most recent price action to identify key support and resistance price levels. We're going to look at the charts of the market leaders, Apple, Google, Goldman-Sachs, Priceline. We'll take a look at those. We'll look at the dollar, gold, and crude oil charts to see if there's any leading sentiment. And finally, we'll have an education spotlight at the end. As we look at the three major indexes from last week, we can see that all three, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500, all rose slightly for the week, about a 1% gain, a little over a 1% gain for the week. But look at NASDAQ up over 13% here as we make it midway through February. And we know that the NASDAQ is making all-time highs, whereas the S&P 500 is just at a 9-month high. We are up 25% from the lows of October. As far as overseas news, China's expressed a little interest in expanding their investment in Europe, so that helps stabilize the euro just a little bit. And of course, Greece Parliament over the last weekend did approve the austerity measures. However, they still have to get that public sector swap investors to agree to the swap before they'll receive their money from the EMF and the IMF. So Greece and their debt situation is still in low issues. And of course, we had some negative outlooks put on, I believe, the UK and France on their debt situation. So still some instability over the seas. Corporate news, not much going on. Apple reached an all-time high of $525, probably off of this iPad 3 mania. The latest rumor is that it's going to be announced on March 7th, which means the invitations will probably go out this week or next week. We'll see. But you may see a lot of sell the news there. So I want you to, that's the only reason I'm putting it up here. Be careful. Just because they announced the iPad 3 is finally announced does not mean that it's going to go up to 600. It could definitely be momentum build up to the news. There really wasn't much going on in the economic news. It was interesting to see that on the FOMC minutes that one of the Fed chairmen thought that they may have to raise rates before 2014. So that was a little interesting to see, but not much going on. So notice that the market rose slightly here on a very light week on economic data and market moving news. And as we go into next week, we can see that we have another week of very light news. We have nobody important on earnings as far as market moving. Hewlett Packard, interesting to me because of the tablet and the to see what they have to say. We all know that their fiasco about the tablet. JTP and Coles could say something about the consumer. MGM was just about the liquidity, how much free money consumers are going out there to Vegas. And as far as economic day, you see we really don't have anything. Monday is President's Day, markets closed. Nothing on Tuesday, nothing on Wednesday, nothing really on Thursday, and then we have Consumer Center on Friday. So that's really the only really big thing. So with nothing here, this is when I usually switch over to Forex and look at the economic calendar for Forex to see if there's something that might drive the dollar up or down, and that might have some impact on the market. Let's pull up the charts and take a look. So here we are looking at the daily chart of the S&P 500. And one of the main reasons why I'm starting off so far is to talk about that 9-month high. You can see what's going on right in here from where the last swing highs would be. So we'll zoom in a little bit here for you. And again, you can see where we're drawing this line from. And you're seeing where we're going to watch 1370 as our next strong resistance level. But that will be easier to see on a weekly. But I just wanted you to see on a daily what we're looking at. We can see on our indicators, our three amigos here, MACD, RSI, stochastics, all of them are overbought on a daily. So on a smaller time frame, we're overbought. But it doesn't mean we can't stay overbought. And you can see that basically right in here where the market basically has been overbought here from January on the stochastics, and RSI and MACD have been up there as well. So we're overbought on the daily chart. Again, not much going on here as far as economic data and earnings data to push the market. So we'll see if we can at least drift our way up here to this next resistance level before we find our next catalyst. Now we'll zoom out here to take a look at that weekly. And again, we can again start to see that what's going on in here. And we'll zoom on in. And just a beautiful uptrend here. Remember, we're the ones that were really talking about this ascending wedge right here. That's 1300, another 60 points right there. And again, here's that 1370 that we're watching as our next resistance, potential resistance price level. But on a weekly, overbought on stochastics, RSI and MACD pretty much getting there. One more time out to the monthly. And we'll zoom on in. And again, we can see this 1370 that we're watching. But on our monthly, we do have a little more room. We've been talking about that for the past couple of weeks. That even though on our shorter time frames they are overbought, our monthly is not. So that's why I'm really watching to see what happens here as we get up here to 1370. Now let's zoom back down and go over to our other index, the NASDAQ. Now remember, the NASDAQ is in all-time highs, and we can see that on a daily. All-time highs. We'll zoom on in here. And we can see a little consolidation here. A little consolidation. The S&P had a very nice Thursday, Friday. But we can see we had a good Thursday here on the NASDAQ, but kind of breather here on Friday. Again, that lack of news, that lack of catalyst here the past week, going into next week, really has the market moving sideways because we are overbought here. Even though we're having a buy signal here on the NASDAQ, we are overbought here on a daily. Zooming out to the weekly, where once again we can see we are in all-time highs here, above that resistance that the S&P is now fighting. And we'll zoom on in. And just beautiful, beautiful chart, beautiful chart. Remember, the NASDAQ was lagging, and then it has since, in 2012, shot up and taken the lead once again for leading the market highway. But on our weekly, we are basically overbought, just like the S&P 500. And finally, we'll go to our monthly chart, and we'll probably get the same thing here. Important to see that swing high here from 2007. And once again here in April of 2011, and again we are above that all-time highs for the NASDAQ. Just a little bit more room here to go on the indicators, although MACD really is already overbought. So we're not really shooting for anything here because it is all-time highs. So we'll see if there's a catalyst, what can move this, the tech stocks, what can move the market here in a week of less light news. Let's take a look at some of our market leaders to get some direction from where they may be leading us. As we begin to look at our market leaders, starting off with Apple. Of course, one of the things Apple is fighting here in the news today is their patent infringement lawsuit going on in China. A company, ProView, is claiming the name iPad. They said that they sold the rights to Apple in most countries, but they did not give the rights to iPad in China. So the iPad actually is being taken off the shelves in China right now, which of course is the second biggest market for the iPads after the States. So Apple's kind of dealing with that right now in conjunction with trying to release the iPad 3. We can see obviously after their blowout earnings here, just a beautiful move. Once we broke out of that high, we've continued to just blaze a new trail. We broke out of this is the earnings move. And then once we broke above that high, we really have taken off. And there's our, all-time high here. So really beautiful. Starting to base out here. Look at the point of control here, 503. This is one where I would sit and kind of hold for a little minute here. You may continue to see a little up move here as we continue to see the build to the iPad 3 formal announcement. It's all rumors right now, but certainly Apple is up, maybe sideways up as we consolidated here the past week, but Apple definitely bullish. Amazon. As we zoom in on Amazon, which has been in a downtrend of late, and then has found support at the 500 moving average, and then for the most part for the past 2 or 3 months has gone sideways. And we continue to be in this channel between about 180, maybe even 175, up to 195. I really could draw another line here at 175. To being the really base of this move. So Amazon for me is just sideways. Google made news this week buying the mobility unit for, is it Motorola, I believe? And you can see after its earnings disappointment, it's now back in this range of 580 to 620, kind of going sideways. So Google, I would say sideways. Look at this market profile, all this volume accumulating here. It would take a lot to really get this above that 620 that we're referring to, because you can see how much volume it's accumulated between 615 and 600. Goldman-Sachs, which has found a little life, which certainly has helped the market. Obviously long-term downtrend, but here we are back over 100, that psychological barrier. And once again, we've tested 120. Here's our test. Here's our test. Zoom in a little bit more, and you can kind of see that it's trying to hold on here to the 200 moving average as support. Also, if you look at the market profile, you can see a lot of volume here between 116 and 113. So a lot of support here as we try to rebound from this big down move. But I would say sideways on Goldman Sachs. IBM. Notice a lot of sideways. The market's going sideways. It's because our market leaders are going sideways. And look at it now, ranging between 190 and 194. We made this high. In the last 2 weeks, we're just sitting here in between that range. Zoom in for you. And then look at this beautiful bell chart here on market profile between 193. I mean, that's market profile for you right there. And you can get that just by seeing how much action is just consolidating in this range. Sideways for IBM. Check out Intel though. Intel making a move. Now obviously it's not at these high prices like IBM, Apple, and Google, but it's making a move, and it consolidated just sitting here at this 27 price level, and then on Friday definitely broke out. So that's definitely something to watch. Intel, I'm going to have to say up there. MasterCard, you're going to see something similar. MasterCard found its support at 340. We talked about that. And really, the past 2 weeks really has just shot on up there. Look at that move right there off of its earnings. And then made new highs. And so now this 400 psychological price level is where it's starting to range. So we'll have to watch what happens here at 400. And you can kind of see, again, the volume accumulating as the price moves sideways. Netflix. The thing that's interesting about Netflix, I mean, we're not going to talk about the fall of Netflix from 300. But it is nice to talk about the rise of Netflix, just like Goldman Sachs, definitely a rise. But what's interesting is that these people who, there's people who have bought here at 200, still waiting to be whole. And there's people here at this base here at 130 waiting to be whole. So why is it so hard right now for the market to get above 130? Well, all these people that bought in here and thought the market finally based, and they immediately took a hit. And as the market comes back, all these people are waiting to get whole. Well, they're selling. You know, they're not waiting for a profit. They're just happy to be whole. They're happy to finally break even, and they're selling, and that has a lot to do. Even though, yes, the market's going sideways, but also you think all these people who are just happy to finally break even are selling into this move up. But definitely sideways to up, sideways on Netflix. And we'll finish off with Priceline also making a breakout. Pull it on up here. And we've been talking about this range for Priceline forever. Zoom in a little bit. Zoom in again. And we can see this past week. Zoom in again. really just saw price action break above that 550 price level and up to a new high here, 588. So price line, and look at this beautiful market profile. If we break 571, you can see that move back down to 540. There's because of what happened here, and the price action just blasting right on up here into that 570 range, and that's all caused here on the 13th on Monday. So sideways up here on Priceline. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the dollar. We know about the inverse relationship with the stock market, the U.S. stock market. So the stock market has had a good 2012, and you can see how that inverse relationship, weak dollar, strong market. So the dollar, which was making new highs, well, not highs, but new highs, recent highs, has pulled back here and found some base here at 79. You can see a lot of volume here below us as we look at the market profile. A lot of volume here in this 79 price range. So we may continue to base here, especially, again, as I said before, maybe check out our Forex videos so you can see some of the impactful economic releases coming out that could impact the dollar as we have a week with light news. But overall, the dollar, I would say right now, is definitely sideways. So with a sideways dollar, what does that mean for gold? Well, we're seeing a little sideways action in gold also. Gold fell off a little bit. And as the dollar was getting weak, we saw that flight to gold. And so you see the nice move up here. But we've talked about this 1750 because of these wicks in here. And that's exactly what happened here in the month of February, where the market has paused here at 1750. But at the same time, you can see we could also talk about 1705 with the wicks here and here. And so that is the range the market is in here, basically. It's 1750 to 1705 tight range here for gold. And we'll see that here on the market profile as the market's just going up and down here. So sideways for gold also. And then finally, crude oil here in the States. I mean, yesterday, I don't know why it shocked me, but when I went there and saw 365 at the gas yesterday, something. Now, I've talked a lot about this 95 to 102 range, and we saw what happened this week. We broke out. We broke out very nicely out of that 102 range all the way up to 104. So the market may be looking to make a new range. Let's see if I can shrink out of here a little bit and kind of give you a more range. So we were in here for a long time, and now the market's broken out of it. So sideways up here for crude oil. Not good for our pockets and our gas tanks. As we come to our education spotlight, we're really bringing to close a lot of what we've been talking about here with our trading plans, and talking about just the overview. When you start to put together your trading plan, you really have to start with who you are as a trader and what you're going to be. What markets are you going to trade? Are you going to trade Forex, futures, options, stocks, bonds? There's so much to trade. And once you define what market you want to trade, you have to break it down to style. Are you going to be a breakout trader? Are you going to be a fundamental technical analysis trader? Are you going to be a daily trader, an hourly trader, a 15-minute trader, a 1 minute, whatever investment you choose? How active are you going to be in the market? And then finally, you have to narrow down and find strategies that match the above two. What market you're going to trade, what time frame you're going to trade, and what strategies and indicators will you use to match and achieve those objectives of that market that you're choosing and the time frame that you want to be choosing. And the reason why that's important is that if you're going to be a day trader or an end-of-day trader, for those of us who work, then you're going to have different strategies. If you're going to be a day trader, for those of us who can sit in front of the computer, you're going to use different strategies because you can monitor those trades more effectively than you could someone who can't monitor those trades. So all of these things impact who you're going to be as a trader, and more importantly, it should filter out the type of strategies that you should be using. So this is really where you should start. When you're talking about your trading plan, the first thing you have to do is really describe who you want to be, the market, the time frame, And time frame can also be considered the style, a day trader, an intraday trader, and then finding specific strategies that match those two previous questions. As always, please take the time to comment and subscribe to our channels. We have great things. Our new videos are coming out this weekend for President's Day. Since we have some people who are going to have some days off, we're putting out our videos this weekend. You know about our resources. We're really here just to try to help you take your trading to the next level. It's all about developing a trader's mindset so that you can be an effective trader. And that's what our coaching is about. That's what our video course is about. And for those people, even if you want to learn how to trade, you may find that you want to have someone else manage your account, and that's what our managed forex accounts. We still take the time to educate you about the process because it's all about making informed decisions about your financial future. You still have to be informed. You can't just trust anybody and everybody. So we have all these great resources for you, and we want to make sure that you take the time to check them out so that we can help you not be that person that's scared to pull the trigger on a trade. Investing is all about developing a trader's mindset that you can, as we said, know who you are as a trader, know what market you want to trade, know what time frame you want to trade, and find those strategies that best suit your market and the type of trader you want to be. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time.